are they understand where they're at. They have a pretty good, accurate gauge of where they should be. And so they kind of understand that. They understand which teams they should beat, which they've done a good job beating so far. And then they understand, all right, these are teams that we're going to struggle against, so let's see what we can get. And so far, they've done pretty well this season.
And that's not me taking a shot either. I'm just, I just want to see them come out and be like, you know what? No, we want to beat Apex. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of like, yeah, it's kind of expected for us to lose a few rounds. And sure, that's fine. But I think the reason I'm kind of being hard on Deja Vu is because I believe they have a lot of potential on that team, and I want to see them do well.
Right, well, I think part of it has to do with a mentality thing, too. You don't want to put that pressure on yourself, because if you go into this match versus Apex going, we can beat these guys, we're going to win this, and then you start dropping rounds, I can kind of eat at your the confidence that you have as a team and
fair.
As a player.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so
that's a fair kind of argument.
You want to know, all right, we're playing Apex, so let's just kind of take it easy and see what we can do.
All right, well, that's going to head us right into our first match between Team Deja Vu and Apex, our final series of the night.
Prokhorovka, one of the first maps in the game. Teams start at the regular spawn points as they do in standard battles. Bases are separated from each other by the railway, so the defending team has to choose whether to send their vehicles to the left side, playing them in the centre, or to the right of the railway, occupying the hill and a part of the village. The attacking team usually attacks the first base. However, the teams often go for face-to-face confrontations, 7-on-7, in the hilly terrain at the centre. That's why both teams frequently use vehicles with good gun depression angles and sturdy turrets.
Battle number one between Apex and Deja Vu. On the side of Apex, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Object 140s, a 113, and that 251. Meanwhile, on Team Deja Vu, we're going to see a 113, an STB, 3 140s, a Bad Shot, and a 251 out of Chase Potato, and of course, Germ, and the 251 for Deja Vu.
And all the tanks from Apex just going to this middle ridge right off the bat, all looking over, trying to see if they can catch off some tank crossing.
Excuse me. It's actually Germ for Apex. I am a little backwards. It's Chase Potato for Deja Vu.
So, Apex crossing over the train tracks, getting on to the other side, and they are going to start cap pressure. However, Chase is already in a good position to keep these guys lit. They are going to know that the 140s are over here. Meanwhile, some shots being traded with the 113. None connecting, though. Bounce there off of the turret, a photo finish. Meanwhile, the team of Deja Vu taking a little bit while to kind of rotate. They're all spreading out. They're sending that RU-251 down in the south. Just the bat shot covering.
Yeah, wow, a lot of shots though coming out. Not too many finding a mark, but My Little Putin is going to take a little bit of damage, as well as external here for Apex.
Now, the thing to keep an eye on, though, is this hit squad of Object 140s. They're all nice and tight together. If you give them an opportunity to push around, that's
they will
lot
melt
of consistent
your face.
fire.
Absolutely.
And exactly. Almost as lethal as a group of bat shots when you have this many guns together, especially with that sort of rate of fire.
But the thing is, at the downside, they don't have to worry about dropping a clip.
Exactly.
So makes them so
every
dangerous.
5.5 seconds, they can just keep firing off a shot. Pretty good DPM out of them. However, Deja Vu are set up pretty well to receive them. And it's up to Deja Vu to retake this cap. The only benefit they have...
Bounce off Fakula there.
The only thing they have going for them is if you pay attention to that little corner of the minimap right here, Chase Potato, pushing up along the zero line is going to get up and behind him. He might be able to find a reset. However, I don't believe he can actually light that cap from the hill, so it's going to be up to Chase Potato.
He's going to have to get
light.
a little closer there to do so, and that's very dangerous for a little 251 there, because if he is spotted, there's a very good chance he's going to get deleted very quickly.
And the thing to look at is these 140s actually could shoot the Chase Potato if he gets spotted, depending on where he's sitting. He's actually going to commit right now into these bushes, trying to find a light on Germ.
Yeah, this is a beautiful play and setup from Apex, really putting on the cap pressure with 20 seconds left and making sure that no matter where the team of Deja Vu pushes over that hill, over the train tracks, they're going to pay for it.
Yep, and they actually have lit Chase Potato. They know he's up here. Germ finally gets lit. And he will get reset.
Yep, 8 seconds turns into 118, but I will say that the HP pool advantage is definitely in favor of Team Apex here, as they are set up to take this as long as they don't get too aggressive or make any mistakes. However, all that being said, I want to say that very ballsy but very intelligent play from Chase Potato there to make it all the way around. He really did just save his team, in my opinion.
The problem is that he had to pull so forward to try to find a light onto Germ that he left himself in a position where he really didn't have any cover, and he took a couple of shots in return.
Right, and now Germ is pretty much free to scout wherever he wants.
Well, exactly, but that means there's less cap pressure for them. He is going to go ahead and jump the train tracks.
Getting a little
bit
of air there.
He jumps over the train tracks.
World of stunts.
Here
Here we go. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Great little jump there. Not necessarily entirely useful to know, but he knows it and did it. And now the rest of the team of Apex are going to cross back over the train tracks in the middle. And if Deja Vu aren't careful, they could be mopped off the floor relatively quickly.
Germ now in a position. He does get spotted, though. I was going to say in a very good position. Again, those lights, especially in some kind of shrubbery, it's very difficult to spot them even when they are moving, but he's going to get spotted immediately. Even still, so much damage going on to the team of Deja Vu as Harmless is about to get taken out. Nitz taking the shot in the 140, as well as Dargil very low, and this looks like it's going to be in favor of Apex as they now have a 3-tank lead as soon as Dargil goes down here. Any day now. Come on. There we go. Germ taking him out in the 251 as we now have a 3-tank lead in favor of Apex. Although bringing it down to 2, Germ is going to go down to social flaws there.
And look at the module damage out across Apex right now. HP has actually kind of gotten a little bit closer, and they're only a gun up. Meanwhile, Dodoma in that 140 has a dead gunner and commander. External has a dead commander, and Canadian Impact has a damaged ammo rack.
So actually still very much in the realm of possibility here for Deja Vu.
One hit in the right spot of Canadian Impact could end him.
Oh, My Little Putin, nice shot onto External, taking him out.
And this is very doable for Deja Vu. This would be a huge upset if they could pick this up. They were not even up on HP at any point in this fight. And the fact
and
this is
not
close.
Yeah, this is not our standard Apex start, James, where we see Apex
and Nationwide coming in here with a full clip. He could clean this up.
One shot being fired. He's going to land it on Dodoma. He's going to take Dodoma out. Now focusing on Akula. This is going to be huge. Nationwide could be the clutch player right now that Deja Vu needs.
He's actually out.
He's going to drop the clip.
Akula is on 550. He has about 40 seconds to chase down Nationwide on full HP.
Canadian Impact going to find a shot there, but he is going to go down here in a moment. No, he actually is going to stay alive as Nationwide is now backing all the way off so that he can get his clip back. Social Flaws very close to death here, as is Chase Potato, with Nationwide being the only tank with any sort of HP left on Team Deja Vu.
And Akula being very smart there not to chase Nationwide. He knew that his opportunity to try to get him killed was gone, that he could no longer kill him in the amount of time that he had left to reload.
But here's something to note. The HP on Deja Vu is literally in one tank, but Apex, their HP is split all throughout the 4 tanks left, the 113, the 140s, and there is literally maybe a 2-shot in Akula, you could argue. Maybe.
Yep, and Nationwide creeping back up on photo finish, finally lighting him. Takes the shot.
That's a nice shot, though.
He lines it up. He can do this with one clip. He needs 2 for Akula and 1 each.
2 shots, barely missing Nationwide there as he's going to back off now. Akula and Canadian Impact have to be very careful here. Akula with a little more HP to spare, and he's going to try to chase down Nationwide. This is a very gutsy play here. He is going to be lit. If he takes any sort of burst here, 632 damage, very close to being taken out. He finally lights Akula and Canadian Impact, and Chase Potato from downtown is going to take down Canadian Impact. Nationwide going to get one more shot on Akula, and he is, oh no! Wow, and Akula misses now. That is one more chance. Wow, Nationwide unfortunately not able to finish it there, and now this is a very interesting situation between the two teams.
2-on-2, almost even on HP, a 13 HP deficit between the two teams.
At 300 HP, when you're talking in that range, I don't think 13 really matters.
RNG is a cruel thing. You would be surprised.
She's a cruel mistress, let me tell you.
However, at this point, all of these are one-shotters. The only one that could possibly take a shot is Chase Potato. Might be able to take a shot if it low rolls. Maybe. And even then, I'm actually not sure if that's 320, 25%.
I have no idea. This is...
I don't think it's possible to low roll on that. I don't think. It would be very close. And the other thing to remember is it is Deja Vu on defense, so it's up to Apex to either get the kills or to get on cap, and they are very smartly spreading apart, but in positions where they can kind of cover each other. Chase Potato will go up on the hill. Social
This
Flaws,
really is Deja Vu's game to lose.
Social Flaws is in a very clever position. He can't really get spotted from any sort of distance, and it's going to be up to
Akula, though, is almost heading in his way. They might prox.
They don't know he's there. They will proxy each other before they actually see each other. Unless Akula drives away, and Social's backing down.
Oh, my goodness.
And they don't know Akula's there. He's looking at the corner. Akula looking for it. He doesn't know he's there.
Oh,
they lie at each other.
The light.
They turn. The snap. Akula gets it.
Beautiful shot on Social Flaws that leaves only one tank left, and it's going to be Chase Potato. He can still do this, though, 100%. If he can land one shot right now and take out either Nitz or Akula, all he has to do at that point is run.
Yep, and he did just like both of them. Akula.
Wait a second here, though. Akula needs to either get on cap or find Chase immediately. There's only 35 seconds left with 97 seconds on cap pressure. It's not going to be enough, and Nitz now is actually going to choose to get off. This is a very risky play here from Apex.
If Chase can get across this train track, he could get away and win it. However, he does stand a chance of being picked off right here. Is he going to get across this train track? Taking a little wobble there.
Oh, and he's going to get across.
He gets across. He may not be
15
spotted.
seconds.
15 seconds.
Nitz is going to be lit.
He has not lit Chase, though. They don't know that Chase is out.
Chase should not fire here. He should just run. 3, 2, 1. And that's it.
And he gets out.
Chase leading the chase there for the win as he brings his team 1-0 against Apex.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
Clever. Not what I
clever.
expected how that game was going to happen. Deja Vu managed to turn around a huge HP deficit they were in.
Yes.
Not something we're used to seeing out of them. That's something that Apex have been specialists at almost at this point this season.
And it's kind of weird to see that the one time that Apex actually didn't start behind is the time they lost. Because every time they start behind, they always claw back and they bring it back in Apex fashion, which is very impressive. But not this time.
I really liked how they used those 140s to start. They kind of kept them all there where they're kind of hold down, but
that
they were all
looked
together.
Like a beautiful situation
and they
for
could
Apex.
Just, whatever came into that range, that group of tanks was just going to get shot at by 4 times, and not being the bat shots, they had the consistent fire. They weren't taking as much damage as, say, a group of bat shots. So really interesting little strat to look at. However, it just didn't pan out in the long run. Looking at the damage here, Chase Potato, top of his team, in a RU 251.
Damn impressive, if I do say so.
3,100 damage. She was up on that hill, just able to shoot the rear of the tank.
That is the very first time this season we've had a tier 8 light topping the damage for both teams.
That is just absolutely crazy. And looking at it, going down, Germ not able to keep up with Chase.
Definitely.
Meanwhile, the Doma external photo all coming in there in the thousands. Durgil Harmless just over 1,000 as well, and Change in that STB not really able to do a whole lot, just got bullied by those 140s from Apex.
Yeah, I'm honestly still kind of at a loss for words. Chase Potato doing amazing damage.
Yeah, well, and the thing is it's the position he got into.
Yeah.
He had all the tanks spotted. He could sit there and get shots off from relative safety up on that hill.
I like his decision, though. Instead of choosing to just kind of not really throw away his tank, but say, like, okay, I'm probably going to die. I'm going to get as much damage off as possible. He played that very smart. He took a few shots. He got the reset, and then he backed off.
Yeah, well, he didn't even get a reset at the end there. It was just they decided
not at the end, but at the initial push.
They both got lit, so they knew he most likely had to be up on that hill, and he was just able to get out just in time. And what I was going to say is it's a very tricky situation to be in. For Apex, just early in that round, because if they send a tank to go kill him, it's going to be a tank they're going to pull away from that front line, and that could be an opportunity that Deja Vu recognizes from that gun being pulled away. If they want to go get him up on the hill, they have to drive up on that slope where the tanks in the middle can shoot him, and plus they'll recognize that tank is split away from the rest of the team, and so they could take that opportunity to dump over and create some sort of overmatch on one of the two groups. However, looking at the lineups here, Deja Vu coming with a 113, an STB, 3 Object 140s, a Batchat, and an RU-251. Meanwhile, Apex, 113, an STB, 3 Object 140s, a TVP, and an RU-251 of their own.
Well, we'll have to see what adjustments Apex made there. I mean, that was a very risky decision to get off of cap. I mean,
Chase needs to be careful. He pokes over, he lights the whole team, and gets out before he takes any damage.
Potentially, you could say that if the two tanks there of Akula and Nitz kind of went on cap, they could have probably kept it there, correct? And maybe ran the time down?
the thing is they both had gotten lit by Chase a moment before, so they figured that he could light them again from safety and get a reset pretty easily. And at that point, once they got one reset, there wasn't anything. Meanwhile, Chase going down.
Yep, so very quickly. Definitely not going to be a top damaging score this round.
So I understand the decision for them to chase because they knew that they could get lit.
I'm not saying it was
cap.
A terrible idea. I'm trying to figure out why maybe they did go for that risky chase.
Well, because right before that hole started, before they made that decision to chase, Drynitz was heading back to the cap. Or not Drynitz, but I want to say it was a Kula. I cannot remember.
It was a Kula left, and I believe Nitz or Drynitz. Oh, no, it was Nitz, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Nitz. Going back to that hill, and once they both got lit going back, they knew that RU-251 most likely was up there to light from relative safety. And so they knew that he could keep lighting them while they were on cap, and they were never going to be able to cap out. And all he had to do was hide after he got one reset. So they decided, all right, we have to go for the kill, and it didn't pay off.
Well, now coming into this game, Deja Vu is actually slightly ahead with the HP pool advantage here. Not by much, but they are down a tank.
Yep, and however, now it is the exact reverse thing coming out of Apex. With that RU-251 heading over towards the hill on the 0 line, he may get in behind here to be able to farm
this
damage.
This is a very aggressive defense, I might add, here from Apex, by the way.
Well, they're just essentially suffocating the map in half. They understood where their team was. They got very aggressive, and they're making it hard for them to move.
Yep, Nationwide looking for a shot on Jeremy. Is actually not going to be able to get it because he's not spotted anymore. He's no longer lit. Photo finish taking quite a bit of damage here from Deja, as well as My Little Putin. Still shots being fired, though. Social Flaws changed and harmless.
Both teams just kind of standing off. It is Deja Vu 1-0 up over Apex. So an upset in the making, maybe? We'll have to see.
Nationwide, though, very far north. He's really looking for Germ.
Yep, Germ backed off to these bushes. He did light him. However, Germ has not been lit yet. Backing off away. And Nationwide's trying to figure out where he is. The thing is Apex are not in a position to support Germ if this bat chat chases him down. So they're just trying to trade on the rest of the map.
Oh, man, if I was Germ right now, I'd be like, ooh, do I take it? Do I not take it?
Well, the thing is he's not in any situation where he can really back out to any sort of safety. So once he fires, he's going to be lit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't know that bat chat's still reloading.
If only he knew what we knew.
External getting very aggressive in his TVP here.
Ooh, nice shots coming out to My Little Putin. Finally some exchanges change. Social Flaws and Harmless also very low, as now the health pool advantage has highly gone into the favor of Apex, as well as the tank advantage as Photos Finish takes out Change. And now Social Flaws and Harmless using the corpse of their fallen teammate Change to try to get some sort of cover here from the onslaught that is coming from Apex, but still taking some damage as well as Photo Finish and Dodoma.
External's going to go over.
Takes out Social Flaws from the STB to the 140.
It's going to start emptying into Durgil. Meanwhile, the team...
Nitz is going to go down. Harmless, though, very low on life. My Little Putin taking out Nitz. Canadian Impact with My Little Putin. Now Durgil taking out Canadian Impact with another trade from Akula in the 140 to the 113 of Durgil.
Yep. Meanwhile, Germ and Nationwide have been playing Ring Around the Rosie for a little while, having each other lit. Not able to get close enough.
Harmless should be going down here just any second now, and this one is definitely going to be going in favor of Apex.
Meanwhile, External able to pick up the kill on Nationwide as he was chasing down the RU-251 of Germ.
Harmless in a very hopeless situation, so at this point, I'm very curious to see how Deja Vu adjusts, especially for the next map, which, if I am not mistaken, will be Muravanka.
Which is a map that we've seen some very interesting stuff out of Deja Vu on. They played very well on it against Eclipse, so we'll have to see if they can keep that up. However, External finally getting up onto this hill behind Harmless. He's going to line up the shot, fire it off, and take him down.
There it is. Down goes Harmless. Boom. So, I would like to say that was an extremely apt counter round there, or counter battle from Apex. They pretty much just shoved it to Deja Vu there. They cut the map in half, like you said. They punished almost every movement, and they I mean, they really made them pay for that last battle.
They made it really hard for Deja Vu to really get a foothold and to find some position that they could move to by being that aggressive up the middle. Like I said, they split the map in half, and they got a lot of tanks on the key points there, both in the middle crossing and at the south crossing. And even with them having a couple tanks up on the hill, they kept everyone lit, and so they knew where all their tanks were essentially almost at all times. And when you're constantly lit like that, and their team's really pinning you in there, it makes it hard for you to flex around and really open up something. Because when you have to kind of be de-lit to make a good move like that. Once you're lit, they know it's coming, they know to look for it, they know exactly how many tanks to move where. And looking at it, Photo Finish coming in with 3,000 damage, Harmless and Putin both sitting around 2,900 and 2,700. External and Akula 2,500 and 2,400. Social Flaws coming in at 1,696, and Dodoma following it up at 1,500.
Right, we see Germ not even doing too much damage, but doing a really good job of staying alive for most of that battle. And then Chase Potato nowhere near the feat he had earlier, where he did 3k damage and a little light tier 8. But
the thing that Germ did that was really smart was he backed off, he knew his low HP, and he actually kept nationwide.
Yeah, he isolated a Batchat by himself.
Exactly, he kept them isolated. He kept them away from the rest of the fight, and so that was just another gun that tier 8 was keeping out of the fight.
Correct.
So, while the RU-251 wasn't doing damage, by keeping that tier 10 out of the fight, it's definitely pulling his weight. It allows for the rest of the team to have that overmatch, and
literally,
yeah, and especially because they already picked off the tier 8, and he wasn't actually in that fight to begin with, and so he was able to just keep doing. Not even keep doing damage, just keep the Batchat out. Batchat's not able to get his clip off, do any damage. He's away from the rest of the tanks, so if a brawl does start, he can't get over there. And, with Apex having that sort of map control, it's another gun they don't have to worry about. They know exactly where it is. Not a whole lot that you can do if you're Deja Vu in that sort of situation, except group up and try to take the fight to the enemy.
Well, that's going to head us right into our next map between Deja Vu and Apex, which is going to be Muravanka. Now, we have seen this map already tonight. And we've seen, like you said, interesting thing from honestly a lot of teams so far this season have kind of approached Muravanka very differently.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the 2-cap play that we've been seeing a lot. It's very reliant on controlling vision.
Sorry, we're actually just going to throw straight to the map. Sorry to cut you off there.
Mm-hmm.
Muravanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
However, no SPGs in sight. Apex.
A lot of Batchats.
Bringing 4 Batchats, a 1390, a T125, and a T57. Meanwhile, Deja Vu bringing 2 E5s of their own, Object 140, 3 Batchats of their own, as well as an RU-251.
Yep, Chase going to be in a 251, while Germ opting to go into the auto-loading 1390.
Photo Finish getting some early damage.
Wow, lots of
social
damage very early here onto Photo Finish as they try to find shots on Apex and only find 1 or 2 on Deja and Social Flaws. So the damage already, Photo Finish below half HP there at about 1015.
Absolutely, and Social Flaws just has to back off behind the building, try to stay alive. However, the whole rest of Apex are just sitting here on this G4 corner waiting for someone to make a mistake like that.
Good night.
He thought he was clear. He thought he could get out.
He thought wrong.
Down he goes. Durgil applying the cap pressure. Now Apex are going to choose to move out as a team. They were all sitting there trying to get a pick. They got the pick, and now they're rotating to deal with the cap.
Oh, no. Look at all these tanks coming now over to the side. Right about to come over that hill. External and that E5 is going to find a shot on Durgil here very quickly. He's actually going to miss. As now here comes Nitz and Canadian Impact. Nitz going to take 398.
I don't get this. They've left Durgil completely on his own.
This was a very bad move by Deja Vu as Canadian Impact and the rest of Apex literally slaughter him.
And good map awareness out of Apex. They realized that other guns weren't in a position to punish him. They pushed in, got him for free, and backed out, and have now reset into their default defense.
This is a very dire situation that Deja Vu find themselves in right now, James.
Only thing positive they have going is cap pressure right now. The RE-251 just chilling out here trying to build some up. However, they have a 2-tank lead that they could just throw away to make sure they get that tank down or even just get the resets. And it's actually going to be the 1390 of Germ that's just going to drive straight towards the cap. All the rest of the guns are sitting here staring at him. Chase Potato will be evaporated off the map in just a moment.
Nice little shot there as a trade, but Chase Potato is going to be running for his life. Unfortunately, he is actually, never mind. He kind of makes it over on that little dip in.
Just got out of there alive.
Yeah, dip in the hill there. Saved him.
So, the Object 140 as well as the Bat Chats.
I apologize. It's actually called the Defilade.
There you go.
I
Below
said
ground.
dip in the terrain. That is a Defilade. That is something I should know. I apologize. I also want to give a huge shout out to Randall for hooking that up. You all might know him as Rue.
Rue Kill, the man. But I digress. The RE-251.
I can see him shaking his fist right now, too, as I said that. He's like, what is this clown talking about up there, Mike? It's very rude. Don't call me clown.
Germ just sitting here kind of passive, and one of the bushes in the open hasn't found a line of sight onto Chase since he got back onto cap. The rest of the team of Deja Vu have kind of set up to try to punish this. However, Apex are in no hurry to really
move. This is going to be very difficult for Deja Vu to pull out of their hat if they can even do so. I mean, Apex is in such a good position positionally, HP-wise. It's just bad. All around bad for Deja Vu right now.
Absolutely. And
moral victory, though. Change finding a shot under Doma.
Yeah, they are down still by about 4,000 HP, and Germ's actually just going to get in here and make sure he gets the light. Well, Chase Potato dies this time. One shot goes on. There he goes. That's what I expected to happen the first time.
Nationwide trading out Germ, but even still, that's almost like an empty victory there.
If they want to sit here and throw away tanks back and forth, at this point, Apex just have more tanks alive, and so they can play that game longer.
Yeah.
So not something I expect them to do, but if it came down to it, they pretty easily could just burn out this clock. They're not in a position to really move. And it's up to Deja Vu to try to find an opening in right now. They have 5 minutes to work with. 4 guns left alive. However, Milo Putin is a one-shotter, and the other 3 are actually still full HP somehow.
Yeah, literally full. I mean, they haven't been touched.
Meanwhile, Apex still has 3 tanks untouched of their own. So, their external Akula and Canadian Impact all full. So, between having...
Again, this is just a very bad situation for Deja Vu. I don't see them winning this round.
And actually, Nationwide's gotten behind the corpse of Chase, that RU-251. So this could make it a little bit more difficult for them to get a reset. However, once again, they have the numbers to just trade. They have to. The HE shell hitting the corpse, but not hitting Nationwide.
Still, External trying to find the shots, but not, fortunately for Nationwide, not able to hit them. 75 seconds. That is still quite a bit of time. Something interesting to see is maybe if Deja Vu would take a risk and put another tank onto that cap to potentially give a little more pressure their way, but
this is just going to be a slaughter.
Yeah, Apex is just...
The Bat Chat hit squad just going to come rolling in here. They will light Milo Putin and Harmless. And it is Nitz that goes down first.
Interesting, but Canadian Impact should be able to clean up Harmless here. And the other Bat Chat is he is also out of his clip.
Now the Bat Chats of Apex needs to make sure they don't get too isolated from these heavy tanks. They are pretty separate right now, and they may not be close enough to really support them, and Apex is starting to falter a little bit here.
Interesting. Even still, though, lots of shots coming out of Nationwide here. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. He might die as long as External and Dodoma don't miss their next shots, and there he goes. It's now down to Harmless and Change for Team Deja Vu as they're now slowly getting focused down. Change now being destroyed slowly but surely by External, and that E5 is going to take another shot. He's actually going to miss as Change is trying to do as much damage as possible. Meanwhile, in the back, Harmless is actually going to be going down to Akula, but wait a second, he actually takes out Akula, and Change is still trying to make somewhat of a difference here as he does face off against his E5 and his 140, but the armor values there and the damage should just be going in favor of External in that E5 heavy as long as he's able to land his shots.
It's just a matter of the one-shotter of Chance here. He gets the shot under External, but Canadian Impact trades it out, finishes him out, and that is 2-1 in favor of Apex.
Yep, 2-1 indeed. It's not that they really faltered at the end, but Apex, I think, they just got impatient. They're like, look, we already won. Like, can we just move on to the next map? So they kind of just threw all their tanks in. And, I mean, of course, they did win, but they lost a few tanks for it. But I don't think anyone really thought that it was going to go any other way.
Yep. If I had any critique there of their response, it was just they let their bat chats get too far out ahead of the heavies there. So there was a chance for a small little even fight there if Deja Vu had gotten their guns together against those bat chats. They could have created an isolation while E5 and T57 were still trying to close. Maybe a little bit, but that's nitpicking. And it's they made it work. They got in there. They had the HP. They had the guns. Like I said, they could just kind of play that up however they wanted.
Yeah.
They just want to move on to the next round. We still have one more round
left on
Muravanka.
But looking at the damage here, Change actually coming up big, almost doing 4K doing 3,800. The object 140 with 21 shots fired. We also have External. And then the rest of Team Apex coming out, rounding 2nd through 6th, and that's going to be him doing 2,600. And then we also have Canadian Impact, and then Dodoma rounding out 25 and 2,500, with Akula and Photo Finish rounding out the last 2Ks.
So that was something that I talked to you earlier about with just this new lineup that Apex has right now. We used to see players like Dodoma constantly just, put out a ton of damage, 4,000 or 5,000 damage.
And he was someone on my fantasy team, so I was super excited. And I'm still excited to have him on my fantasy team, but I think I know where you're going, where he's much more consistent now.
Well, it's not just him, but it's just the whole team. That they're all just sucking up the damage before Dodoma can even get in there and farm it, or any of them. And when you have a team that's just this talented, they're all trying to get the same damage that you are, and they're all playing together so well.
The consistency of the whole team is kind of it brings down everyone, but at the same time it brings up the team.
Yeah. I mean, that's 5 players that are within 300 damage of each other essentially. So just good teamwork overall there.
Which is why I now no longer have anyone from Apex on my fantasy team, because they all tend to do a little too well together.
All right. And as Blue Mini would say, the memes are real with this lineup. 2 Bat Chats, 2 IS-7s, and IS-4, a Grill 15, and a little tank with a question mark, a Crusader SP.
That's a Crusader SP. I don't think I've ever seen that tank. Talk to me.
We saw it against from Eclipse versus Deja Vu, except it was Eclipse that ran it against Deja Vu, so taking one out of their playbook. This little British Tier 7 artillery. Very small gun on it. It's the same gun off of the
I remember this. This was
3004.
This is literally just to go for resets, correct?
Exactly. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage. The gun.
Just kidding. I do remember this tank.
It has a very quick reload, about a 10-second reload on the thing. Aims pretty quickly. However, it only has about a 600-meter range.
And damage is not, especially against tier 10s, is not going to be incredible.
It probably won't even pen the Bat Chat. However, it can constantly get the resets on that cap. Makes things a bit easier. And it's actually going to be Apex that are actually going to play over towards the 1 cap, though.
We're actually going to see Germ also. So 2 SPGs tonight coming out in the same round, and it's something that we haven't really seen at all tonight. And in fact, I mean, early on, I want to say we saw a couple Arties coming out, but in the last few match days, it's been pretty Arty-less.
Yeah, and looking at Apex's lineup here, they have an E5, a 140, 4 Bat Chats, and then an M40-43. Another thing to keep an eye on is in a Crusader SP, with having such a quick rate of fire, you're not really going to want to move a lot just because you want to be able to keep pumping out the shells. If Germ picks up on that, he's able to pick up the Tracer pretty quickly. He could counter battery chase Potato, and it would not even take a direct hit for him to go down.
Which is rare-ish. You don't see that too much anymore.
Not these days. Counter battering used to be a lot easier. The Tracer that would leave the barrel from artillery was very thick and prevalent, and so if you were looking for it, it was pretty easy to spot. These days, it's been toned down to where you really have to pay attention to look for it. However, it is still possible. And when you have a tank like a Crusader SP that has a 10-second reload, that little Tracer is going to be popping up over and over and over again instead of once every 40 seconds, where it takes a little bit of time to kind of figure out exactly where the artillery is sitting. So, we'll have to see if Germ tries to counter battery him there. Would make life easy. However, I don't know that they're actually going to worry about a Tier 7 artillery a whole lot, just because it's a Tier 7 artillery. It's not going to do a lot of damage, so unless they're trying to go for a cap, who knows? Meanwhile,
it's a trap.
Yeah, they have this IS-7 just out here by himself, but they have all these Bat Chats down in the low ground, ready to support him. You can't see them there off that little mini-map, but the Bat Chats are there, ready to support him, and this is a strat that we're very used to seeing for the side of Deja Vu. This is almost the same strat that they ran versus Eclipse when they picked off, I believe it was T1 Diabetic early on. And meanwhile, Apex are actually going to go for the same thing. They will find Harmless in just a moment, who's sitting there with IS-7 camoed up in a bush. Not something you see every day.
He's also, again, that tank hold down is very difficult to dig out.
Canadian Impact will go down here if he is not careful.
Wow. Lots of damage coming on the Team Apex here as External is pretty much dead. In fact, there it is.
And they do take out Harmless in that IS-7. However, they do trade External in return, and they get one extra shot of damage. And now the Batchats are going to take that opportunity to run.
Wow.
Cheeky little play. I'm not sure it was worth giving away a Tier 10 heavy tank for that. However, the defense is up now by about 1,000 HP, and they can just kind of slow things down.
I mean, they got a tank, and they got some damage on Nits and Canadian Impact, and I like how cheeky the play was, but at the same time, that IS-7 that's a really
but look at this. They know
to lose.
They knew that those two Batchats are over in the forest right now. They know they're disjointed, and they're all coming up here to this cap, including the grill. They may just jump on this cap right now and take the overmatch.
There it is. My Little Putin coming over the hill as well as Nationwide. They're going to do a lot of damage here as the Doma is going to take shots. Akula now, and there he goes. There's Jill in the grill. Going to take out the Doma, and now Nationwide is in threat of being taken out as well. Canadian Impact is going to find a shot just as he comes around that corner. Photo finish, though, in threat of being taken out by the IS-4 Social Flaws, and Nationwide is reloading. Change now is going to have to reload as well.
Even the artillery trying to get a shot in there. That little Crusader SP.
And there goes a photo finish to Social Flaws in the IS-4. And Apex is actually going to lose this round.
And it's going to tie it up 2-2. So Deja Vu doing their homework. Great read there. They got the pick over onto the Batchat in the forest. And then they knew that there was two more Batchats they didn't kill. Apex took too long to regroup their tanks, and all it took was Deja Vu just running away, getting all their tanks together, and dumping where they knew they had the overmatch. Great read from them.
That was a very and I believe that was Rue just calling that trap, and sure enough it was. And the way that they set up that play, whether or not they were 100%. Deja Vu was prepared to lose that IS-7. In fact, they had made that play specifically to lose that IS-7. Now, what we were paying attention to was just the trade in general. What we weren't paying attention to was the actual positioning of Deja Vu to be able to come around and take that one cap. Beautiful play.
Now that could have backfired on them if the split was different. Say that Apex had just sent one Batchat over there that finds this IS-7, and all the other tanks are over by this one cap. All of a sudden, then it becomes that they can just overmatch the tanks on the cap. There are endless amount of possibilities. It played out great here for them in this case, knowing the tendencies of Apex. Apex took too long to rotate those Batchats back through the town and get them with the rest of their forces, and they just timed it ever so well. Germ looking for a shotgun here on a Malaputin. He has not been lit yet. Malaputin just jumping up around. He fires the shot, and he deletes him! He gets the one shot!
What a shot!
And he goes down from change, but still a great shot there from Germ. Just deleting that Batchat. Wow. That was fun stuff.
That was neat.
And this is 2-2. You guys got to remember, this is Deja Vu, a team that just came up from the Silver League last season. 2-2 with Apex.
An impressive fashion, I might add, on Muravanka, a map that I heavily favored Apex.
Oh, absolutely. And seeing these strats, these little adaptations, stealing things from little places, the great bait and switch there out of Deja
that was
Vu.
Really well done there.
And, Germ got a little bit back there at the end there, picking off Malaputin, just the one shot from that M40-43. Great shot there. However, not enough to do it in the end.
It wasn't enough indeed. But it was still a cheeky, nice shot there. That beautiful arc, that angle that we had was perfect.
Yep, My Little Putin, though, top of his team at 4,000 damage. So great stuff there. Germ coming up next with 2,800. However, you got to remember 1,800 of that was that last shot on My Little Putin.
Yeah.
So arguably didn't really affect the battle one way or
Still,
another.
Though, I mean, did quite a lot of damage no matter what. So
well, but once again, that was after the fight was pretty much over. The rest of his team was dead, so he only really did 1,000 damage that really mattered, you could say. And looking at it, the little Crusader SP fired 14 times, hit 0, damage 0, so not really able to do a whole lot there. Meanwhile, Akula, photo finish to Doma, all almost at 1,000 or lower.
I mean, so you could almost say that Deja Vu did that 6-on-7 because that Crusader literally did nothing.
Yep.
Like, literally. That's not a knock on Chase. It's just he wasn't really needed.
It's a tier 7. It's a tier 7 with a tier. I believe it's actually a tier 5 gun. It's a tier 5 or tier 6 gun. It's just.
I think it's actually a tier 4. I really do think it's a tier 4 gun.
It has like a 3. I think it's 320 alpha on that, or 300. It's super low.
Yeah.
The penetration's low. The only thing it has for it is it has a nice little high arc and it has a quick reload.
Yep.
But
I think actually I'm gonna have to interrupt you as I'm being told we're going right into the next map already.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
Battle number 5 as we head into Himmelsdorf.
So nothing crazy here coming out of either team.
Nope.
Deja Vu bringing 2 215Bs, a 113, 250Bs, a T123, and an IS-3. I expect to see that IS-3 sitting over towards the clock tower here in a moment.
And then Apex bringing 3 215Bs, IS-7, a grill, a bat chat, and the 1390. Again, the 215B is a very common tank that we see on this map. Almost at least 2 on every team every time.
Yep. Now I can tell you that running this exact strat that Apex looks to be running right now, with 2 tanks going up on the hill and the rest going to the 8 line, is the same strat that they got caught out running versus 07. 07 went with a very cheeky hill play, sent all their tanks over to A0. And hey, what are Deja Vu doing right now?
It seems as though they've done a little bit of homework.
Yeah, watching some of those replays. No, not the exact thing, but a very cheeky play. The biggest thing here is that 113 needs to get spotted. However, they have spotted Harmless, so they know that they're over there. So maybe it won't go to plan. Now, here's the thing is Apex already got burned by a similar strat like this once on Tuesday.
I highly doubt they'll let themselves fall to it again.
Yeah, I would expect to see them to rotate out towards the 1-2 line here pretty quickly.
Well,
trades and bounces going on.
Bounces everywhere, actually.
So it's actually the IS-3, not near the clock tower. He's actually over at B1 behind some oil barrels sitting over there. He'll have some good resets on that 1 cap if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, and it's going to be very difficult here for Harmless to do any damage at all to that IS-7 of photo finish.
No, that IS-7's
when an IS-7 is hull down,
position.
it's pretty much like firing at a impenetrable wall. And unfortunately for him, he actually can't cross, because if he does, he's going to actually take some damage.
So this is the shot that Harmless has to deal with right now. He can't see any of his lower plate. He barely has any of his top plate. That is not a sight that you want to see. Great spot in a pub match as well if you can get here soon enough, if you have a spawn over towards this side. However, typically the other tank destroyers on their team will be sitting there ready to punish you. And he's just going to keep Harmless just chilling out back there. Meanwhile, Germ just peeking over the 0 line, trying to see if anything comes through. And slowly but surely, Deja Vu are starting to pull tanks out. However, the thing is Harmless ain't getting out of there. He's stuck, so the 50Bs...
No, he is very stuck.
So the thing is that the rest of the team isn't really in the greatest position to support him. The 50Bs can roll over pretty easily, get to the 8 line, and shoot down.
Even still, that's a risk they don't really want to take either.
Yep, the 215B, they do have another 215B sitting at C5 in the cubby right there. And it's just photo finish, just chilling out there.
He is just relaxing right now in that spot.
Yep, and if anyone stumbles across him, once again, those 50Bs kind of play in that pivot spot in the middle, and that 215B could get there pretty quickly. So just laying a couple little traps.
Oh, nice little J-turn there, a little 360 with the handbrake from Germ as he's now trying to scout a little more down that Bravo line.
And then time is indeed running out. 3 minutes gone.
7 minutes left on this clock. And Apex are the ones that have to make the play. They are on offense. Something I've noticed is I've never at all this entire season seen a play from the 1 cap. Ever. It's always been on the 2 this entire season.
We saw it a lot back when it switched to 754. Teams would use some small tanks like the AMX-12T, the tier 6 of the 1390 line, and they put it out there as a little building right in the middle of cap, and they try to just side scrape it off there. But that IS-3 is sitting in B1 right there is there to prevent exactly that. Just made shells, he can side scrape there and be very hard to kill. And all it takes is one tank sitting over at C3, and they can just crossfire that building. There is, if they're both in those holding those angles, there's nowhere that a tank can sit behind that building to stay safe. Now, if a team's bringing a tier 7 for a cheeky strat, like the Crusader SP, it makes you wonder, why don't they bring a 12T and run the same cheeky strat? A little bit thinner profile than the 1390, maybe get away with it. But
I don't know.
It's just, something to think about. Now, the thing is it would definitely would. Well, I don't even know that would be a telltale sign of what they're doing, because you could say that 12T could be used up on the North Cap, South Cap. There was some very entertaining strats that we saw where teams were getting used to putting 12Ts and 5916s in corners, like that A7 corner that the 50Bs are leaving right now. And during, I believe it was the finals 3 seasons ago, the first finals with Attack Defend in it, one of the teams, after being fed up with teams putting a small tank on that A7 corner, they brought the Japanese tier 6, the Oho. It is just a huge, heavy tank.
That's what we saw on the map of Runeberg.
Well,
I forget which team.
So that team used it as offense. What one of the teams did, I want to say it was Noble, but I could be wrong. They decided, all right, in fact, I know it was Noble because they had Marsh then, and they put Marsh in that Oho, and they parked him at A7, covering that spot of Cap, so the other team couldn't put a tank on Cap in that exact spot. They just drove it right up against the wall there, and they're like, if you want to cap this Cap, it's not going to be in this exact spot where this guy dies. So they couldn't move him out because the corpse was too big, and they just couldn't do anything. So they were just forced to kind of, all of a sudden their game plan to just sit on Cap and just sit back is just gone, and they're sitting there like, well, what do we do now? Meanwhile, it looks like Apex has decided what they're going to do now by pushing up the 8 line. They will find Harmless, and it's actually at this moment that they chose to back out the 50Bs, so Harmless will go down for relatively free.
That is mostly unfortunate there for Harmless and Team Deja Vu, as he is going to get bullied into death. Yep. External, probably the easiest kill of the night for him.
Nitz gets focused out by the 50Bs, so they will trade it out.
It's still a fair trade, though. 113 for 215 isn't a bad trade at all.
So the thing is right now, looking at it, there's 4 minutes left. Apex are down 1,500 HP. And Germ has a dead gunner in that 1390.
Not a bad situation
and
here for Deja Vu.
Fire onto Canadian Impact. Luckily, he still had an automatic fire extinguisher, puts it out.
But the shots coming out from the other side now.
And Canadian Impact goes down.
Is going to take him down. Canadian Impact, unfortunately, getting caught out. External taking quite a bit of damage here as well. Bouncing a shot off Dergil. That's not very good. They need to get this damage off quick as My Little Putin heads around the corner as well as Change.
And this is going to be a win for Deja Vu if they can finish this out. The 50B is rolling in right now. They do find the kills.
More damage coming onto the tanks of Deja Vu as Apex slowly gets melted. And again, this, like you said, this is it. This is going to be a win for Deja Vu. Now up for the first time against Apex. So this kind of makes me wonder here.
Makes me wonder what's going on.
Well, I mean, did Dodoma DC?
I guess. I haven't seen him fire in a while. He's got to be just DC'd up there.
Honestly, what is he even looking?
No, he's there.
Oh, he's there. He woke up. He was taking a nap.
I think he was hoping that one of the tanks was going to pop out at that bottom D5 corner, and they was going to get a shot off for free, maybe pick someone off, because he needs some sort of pick to have a shot right now. Now, here's the thing, is Change. Oh, and he turns around. He could have gotten a pick for free.
What is happening?
And Doma's just going to back off and run down the clock.
Maybe Dodoma's suffering from a little narcolepsy, falls asleep every couple minutes and then wakes up to find his team's dead. I don't know.
Conspiracy theory to why he's not top on the damage in the league right now?
He literally did nothing this entire round.
I think he got a few early shots onto the 50Bs as they pushed in there, but once again, his HP wasn't in the fight, and they're actually going to miss him. He's going to drive over into this little corner, and he's just going to sit here.
I'm very confused, James.
I think he's just trying to save time or burn time at this point.
That I understand, but I'm very confused as to his role this battle.
So essentially, he was getting free shots on those 50Bs in the courtyard. That they were relying on him to be enough to really stop Impact and Nits from going down in that courtyard. They both got caught out.
Well, I can tell you right now, they actually did go down.
Yeah, well, they went down the 50Bs having those auto loaders. They took one shot for 750, and that's
so
8
again,
seconds.
I ask, what?
It was just to try to pump out some damage, but the positioning of the rest of the team just didn't really work out. When you have a tank up on the hill, you got to remember that's HP out of the fight. And they haven't actually checked this corner. However, it looks like the 50B of Change is going to find him. It's going to come in here. They are lit. He's not even going to return fire.
And the only reason, too, that I'm kind of critical here of Dodoma is because he's, in my opinion, he's one of the best players in the league. And not seeing him kind of be effective, even though I get what he was going for, it just...
Oh, is Change going to finish him off by ramming?
It's a little baffling. I don't know.
Maybe a little bit of frustration there. Heated argument, team speak about why that went wrong.
I don't know.
There could be a lot of things. Could be they're just sitting
Here's
there talking about strats.
And this goes back to what I was kind of alluding to earlier, is Apex gave away 3 rounds against the last team they fought, which was 07. And now they've given away another 3 rounds. In fact, they don't even have the lead this time. It's 3-2 in favor of Deja Vu. So it kind of goes back to that question we asked comps. Are you kind of leaning off of the gas pedal there a little bit? And that's not to say that they are, but still, I mean, for a team that only dropped, 10 rounds in the entire season, that's 6 just between their last 2 matches that's added to that.
Well, what I would speculate right now is that they're trying to save some strats for the second round robin and for later in the season.
Which makes sense, of course.
They're trying to, use the same strats they already have and make the right adaptations. However, you can kind of see some attitude out of some tanks sometimes, just kind of how they move and respond. And Dodoma there at the end, he was kind of just chilling out there. Now, I understand he was probably looking for a pick there at the end when he was sitting there looking at that corner. But once again, his gun was out of the fight, he couldn't really do anything. And at the end, they're just going and driving in that corner. He even let 3 shots get put into him by that 50B, which he, in theory, I think could have even high rolled, but didn't come through. And looking at the damage here, Change coming up there with 4K almost at that point. Good damage out of him. Malaputin, 2,400. Social Flaws, that 215B at 2,400, and then top 4 Apex is going to be Akula.
And Dodoma's, I mean, he still did 20. He did the second most damage on his team, so he wasn't useless like I initially thought. I didn't really see him get too many shots off.
Well, but he only did 2,200 up in the hill in a gun that does 750, so essentially got 3 shots of damage off is the way to look at it.
Let's look, if we look at this closer, shots fired 3, 4 direct hits with only 3 pens. So yeah, 3 like you said.
So 3 that rolled decently well. 750 alpha gun. Actually, no, that would be slightly below average. So, not 3 shots though out of a grilled 15 isn't necessarily what you're going to want. You got to remember that's a glass cannon that's not in the fight, not able to get shots. He got some shots off, but he's not a tank absorbing damage for the rest of his team.
Yeah. You're right. If you're in a grill, you need to be putting out very high alpha.
And he couldn't even get damage on the tanks that pushed into that 5 line where that brawl was going on, so he couldn't really affect the tanks that were killing his teammates. So when you're getting damage on tanks that are kind of off on their side, how much does it really matter?
Indeed. Well, we're going to head into the 6th battle here between these 2 teams, and we'll see what Apex does. That was very interesting to witness.
Yep, Deja Vu coming in with 3 113s, 250Bs, a Bat Chat, and a Object 416. We've only seen this once so far this season. We saw it on Ghost Town to use some cap pressure in that north cap. It does have a pretty good gun, fairly good DPM, great camo value. It's the tier 8 on the line that leads up to the Object 430. So decent little tank there, kind of an odd pick, but we'll have to see how they can use it. And so far they've deployed it up to the hill. Meanwhile, Apex going with 2 215Bs, a 113, a 50B, a T123, a Bat Chat, and Germ in that 1390.
And we're seeing more of a Western push here as the team of Deja Vu is actually going for that one cap that I say they never tend to put pressure on.
Caster's Curse. They're pushing out here.
I mean, in this situation, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, they're pushing out here, and it's only Canadian Impact up at the train station, and now the rest of the team of Apex understand this is coming, and they're trying to get into position. However, I don't think they're going to be in a position to really do any damage to Social Flaws or his teammate of Durgel pushing out here with them. And they will get cap pressure. The 113 of Chase Potato hugging against the wall over there. Social Flaws does get lit as he knocks over the wall.
Yeah, and something to note is that Bat Chat sitting right over there at D4.
Now, the other thing to look at here is these 50Bs chilling out in the south, down here around H4, looking for a rotate to come in from Apex. However, I don't know how long it's going to take Deja Vu to realize all the tanks from Apex are actually in the north.
Ooh. Still, we just see External here just trying to find some sort of shot, but really doesn't have much. Chase Potato in the 113 is kind of tucked into the corner there of the one cap, so he's relatively safe, and he hasn't even been lit yet.
A bounce from the 210E3 on the social flaws. Meanwhile, Durzel does take a shot damage. Canadian Impact choosing to not even poke or get lit, knowing he doesn't have any good shots right now. And it's actually going to be a Kula V in that 215B that joins him back there.
And Germ is actually, looks like he's hitting back or trying to proxlite, as he actually might proxlite the 50Bs here.
Well, it's not even, well, it wouldn't even be a proxlite. It'd be a direct vision light, a little bit too far for the 50 meter prox range to kick in. However, they are not lit as they cross there, so he's not going to know these 50Bs are coming in behind. And these 50Bs could get in here. Now, the problem is that they need to get across this cap without the other team recognizing. They are so split right now. The timing on this needs to be perfect.
Chase going to eat the shell there from Akula in the 215B. So the reset does come in. Not that the pressure was, surmounting, but it was there. It was the fact that they had something on cap means that they had to find the shot. But like you said, the 250Bs in the batch out here, all the autoloaders coming together here for Team Deja Vu.
The 50Bs backed up just in time for Germ to not light them.
I like this play a lot. However, the 1390 here from Germ is going to spot this out.
Will he, though? He's going to chill out just in this north cubby here.
Oh, no. I like the bait and switch. I really like this bait and switch.
Now, the thing is they're extremely disjointed, and now they're running both caps, the 416 on cap and the 113's just chilling out in the same spot. They're really making Apex work for this. They have cap pressure on both caps.
What's gonna happen, James?
The thing is my little Putin in this 416, while he's extremely high camo, he's going to be hard to see. He's not exactly the most narrow tank, so there is a chance that he could get one of the tracks hit from the sides. Meanwhile, this 50B hit squad choosing to back off. The Bat Chat is going to go ahead and back out, and I think he's going to come up behind.
Yeah, I think
Germ
he wants to take out Germ. That's the threat right now that's going to unravel this strategy. If they can take out that scout, they can easily put cap pressure back on both 1 and 2.
Now, the thing is that Apex could overmatch either of these groups if they recognize the overmatch is here. The problem is if they want to try to...
They have no clue those AMX 50Bs are there.
They don't know the 50Bs are there. They still haven't been lit. And on top of that, if they make this push right now, they have to push this across so much open ground where these 113s are in such good defensive positions. Milo Putin's still sitting there, and it is actually going to be Germ that shoots Chase Potato all the way over from the hill.
And here's the problem as well. If this bat shot finds the 1390 of Germ, if Nationwide is able to find Germ, that might force Apex to believe they have an overmatch where these 250Bs can actually flank and cause some serious damage, James.
And the Germ has been firing for a little bit, so Nationwide knows he's going to be out.
There it is. Nationwide is going to find Germ and take him out here. Now it's all up to see what Apex does in this situation as Germ goes down. And it looks like they're all going to slowly make it back north towards the east.
The 50Bs are going to move up the 5 line here so they don't trigger the cap. This 50B hit squad can pretty much delete a tank by itself, and they're going to roll in here completely
waiting
undetected.
For Chase now, or Change to catch up. And now here comes Nationwide, almost with that clip reloaded. This is going to be huge. Deja Vu, I want to say, is in perfect position to take this battle.
I haven't seen play like this on Himmelsdorf in a long time. Just giving all sorts of missed signals to Apex, making it very hard for them to move.
With the double cap, now that they know that Germ is no longer in that threatening position of just being there to scout. Deja Vu.
I don't even care how this match goes out. Whoever is calling for Deja Vu right now, most likely Chase. This is crazy. It's working somehow. Apex are doing everything it needs to work, but this is crazy. It's just so well disguised for Deja Vu right now. It's just so hard to read, to pick up on. You got to remember that we can see everything, and Apex can only see what's been lit, and they've been doing such a good job, and even getting lucky, you could argue, at some points. Meanwhile, they're going to push in, and they don't know these 50Bs are here.
Uh-oh.
And Nationwide can just turn and run the second these 50Bs catch them. They're going to come around. They're looking for it. They have an idea. These 50Bs are here. They haven't been spotted.
And there comes the shots. Lots of damage coming onto both of these tanks. Nationwide potentially might go down here. He's going to need to back off a little bit. Meanwhile, there's still one shell left in Change's clip. He's got to let it go. Still 2 and Harmless. And there it is. Change is going to back off and reload. Meanwhile, Harmless still with 2 shells. He's going to take a shot, and he has 1 left.
Canadian Impact does go down. The 50Bs are still reloading right now. Harm fires off his last one. Changes halfway through his clip, and they're just going to swarm on these 50Bs.
10 seconds. Now the 215 and the E3 need to move forward.
Finds the shot on the 416.
Shot.
And Social Flaw is getting set on fire. He is going to burn out.
No.
Oh, and he gets left alive. Just barely.
My Little Putin. I shot an external. These 50Bs are reloaded. Change getting shots onto Nitz as well as Canadian Impact now.
And I thought this fight with the 50Bs was over. However, Harmless is on to his second clip.
Uh-oh, Chase Potato here. Very, very close to being taken out. And Akula going to take out Social Flaws. Photo finish now, right in the face, knowing that those are reloading. Wow, Apex bringing it back in a situation that looked incredibly good for Deja Vu. You seem stunned right now.
There is no reason that sort of strat from Deja Vu should work. Just no reason. The fact that those 50Bs were able to get around without being spotted, just barely crossing gaps, seconds apart from Germ crossing them. The timings, I'm just at a loss for words. I mean, it's just one of those things that shouldn't have worked.
Because usually that chatterbox is going constantly, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And it didn't work, which kind of makes me sad a little bit, because something just so, I don't even want to call it elegant, it's just chaotic, just so much going on. The fact that they were able to disguise so many tanks moving around in the backfield for so long, it could have worked. However, the one thing that saved them was Apex's experience. They knew, let's stop for a second. We haven't checked that 5 line in a while, and that 50B trap just didn't work. They weren't able to, even kill a tank. If they had they had perma-tracked, say, photo finish on that corner and been able to kill them, that could have gone completely different.
So I'm actually just trying to look at the next map here, and I found it. It is going to be Mines. Interesting. And should we go to overtime, it's going to be Steps. But looking at the damage, it's going to be photo finish and Dodoma on top. 4K for photo finish in the 113 and a 2300 for Dodoma. The damage actually was kind of low all around, looking at it, besides photo finish, of course.
Yeah, and it's just photo finish that managed to just sit there and trade with those 50Bs. He worked his armor ever so well. Bounced 6 shots for 1600 damage, so did a pretty good job working that corner. Smart of him to not push all the way in to where he could get perma-tracked or give him something, or even get ammo racked. So good play out of there, but Dodoma coming up next at 2300 for his team. And the side of Deja Vu didn't even do a whole lot of damage to us because they were so focused on putting up the cap pressure the whole game. Chase Potato, Change, Milo Putin put up 1,000 in that 416, so not bad. Yeah. So they all did above 1,000 damage, which isn't bad. But no one really, broke any record barriers here. They put up a lot of damage, and they didn't really.
Definitely no Chase Potato doing.
Apex was able to get the resets without having to overexpose themselves too much.
That reset from Dodoma was huge, by the way.
Yeah, it came through.
On the one cap?
Yeah, they had pushed the 113, I think it was Social Flaws, just over to his left to block the left side of that 416 from being reset, and so they knew that their only chance was really going to be on the right side there, and Dodoma just managed to creep up. Because all those 113s moved on to cap, the 50Bs were elsewhere, they couldn't really get in a position to punish them.
Yep, well, that's going to head us into our next map. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village, and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
Battle number 7. As we now head into the lineup of Apex, which is going to be 3 113s, 2 Batchats, a T10, and then a Tier 9 Batchat AP, and then moving on to Deja Vu, we're going to have 2 113s, 3 Batchats, a TVP, and a 251 out of Chase. So
we'll have to see if they go for it. I think I already know what Apex are going to do. It's a strat that they've run to great success so far this season. So I expect to see Canadian Impact and Dodoma go for the climb on the backside of the hill here. They're taking the approach as if that's what they are going to do.
Yeah, we've seen this quite a lot from Apex, actually, almost exclusively every time they play this map, and there it is.
And now they're not even going to complete it. They're going to sit here in a trap. They're going to move the heavies towards the hill. And now what's going to happen is they can time this push to where these Batchats climb the backside of this hill at the same time as these heavies commit. And already Akula and Germ pushing up, trying to find some good damage.
Germ, though, taking quite a bit of damage, as is Akula. This might have been a very risky play here, as they're almost dead each apiece.
And they know that Change has been firing, so they're going to pull forward to where they could shoot Change. Doma uncharacteristically missing his first shot. However, they do get the track.
This is very unfortunate here. Nits taking quite a bit of damage as well. And Dodoma, though, going to find the kill onto Change there from Batchat to Batchat. Nationwide, Nits, wow, taking out My Little Putin. Again, Apex always does this, finding a win out of a situation where they're technically down.
Yep, and the thing that's really saving him right now is Chase Potato pushed all the way down the one line very early, and he's been able to sit here and harass these Batchats who are reloading. And Nationwide's going to take this opportunity to push in and try to pick up the kill on Canadian Impact.
And he should be going down here in just a moment, and there it is. Dodoma also threatened to be taken down as he is still reloading that clip. Apex, actually, I was going to say, although they have the tank advantage, but not so much anymore, and their HP pool is significantly lower on every tank compared to Deja Vu.
So Dodoma is reloaded. Nationwide did get out of there. He is going to regroup with the rest of his team as Germ goes down.
Yeah, Social Flaw is going to pick up a tank as well.
However, Dodoma just coming in now. He can pick up Social Flaws as long as he makes the shots count.
And Social Flaws is, wait a second, that's one shot he really needed to land. Another shot as a bounce.
And he goes down. Uncharacteristic there. Dodoma missed 3 shots that round that all were crucial.
Oh, a little bit of a miscommunication there as Chase Potato rams Nationwide.
Kula should find the kill onto Chase. This is actually a very delicate situation. This round isn't over.
Wait 1 second, Apex. You won't. You will.
They find the kill. Good
right.
crossfire there.
Good
they played that ever so perfectly.
Deja Vu. Honestly, I would say that was much more Apex making mistakes and missing shots that they honestly just should not have missed. And that was Deja Vu just playing absolutely nuts. At the same time, Deja Vu definitely did a good job of cleaning up the mistakes.
They were set up for that strat. That was that's the thing. That's the trap that Apex have been following in so far this recently, last couple of matches.
Yeah,
is they're running the same strats and teams are coming up with good solutions. They pushed the RE-251 straight down the one line right off the get-go before they even finished that climb. And so he was able to sit there and shoot them in the back as they made that climb and got up there. And so even once they were both reloading behind that rock, the only cover they had, sitting behind that rock, Chase Potato sitting further back down there on the one line had clean shots.
Firing shots away. The thing is, though, real quick before we go into the damage, I think that is also kind of attributed to what you were saying earlier about Apex, is they don't necessarily want to use crazy strats because they're probably saving those for the next round robin because they're already safe. Yep. So they're going with what has worked and also what is not as risky.
Yep, and hoping they can make it work. However, the problem is Deja Vu are now at 4 points. They've guaranteed themselves at least 1 point from this match, looking to take all 3.
They guarantee themselves a safe spot to this round robin. They're not going to get relegated,
yep,
regardless of whether they win or lose now because of the fact that they have earned a point in this if they go to overtime, which, just by the way, throwing that out there, if we make it there, it's going to be steps.
So looking at the damage here, Social Flaws coming in at 3,100, Nationwide in that Batchat, 2,500, did a good job there, squaring off with Canadian Impact and Dodoma after he killed Change. Meanwhile, Durgil coming in there with that TVP, and looking down on the second page, German, that T10 just got focused out, only put off 3 shots before he dropped. Chase in the RE-251 even doing 1,000 damage, so was chipping away at those Batchats early on. Milo Putin being the only one that really got just kind of deleted off the map before he could really be effective. Other than that, I like the strat of Apex when I first saw it. The thing is that they didn't do enough to change it up and kind of twist things around to kind of play with Deja Vu. And now going into round number 8.
Potentially could be the very last match here if Deja Vu can squeak away a win, which would be a massive upset.
Yeah, this be a round that I would not expect Apex to give up any amount of points. I didn't expect them to give up any rounds tonight, keeping up with that pain train they've been running.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, looking at these lineups, we have some very interesting picks out of both teams.
2 Skodas out of Deja Vu, including 2 113s, 2 TVP, and 3 TVPs. So I don't really think I've seen a Skoda too much at all.
Tier 9 Czechoslovakian tank. It is the tank right before the TVP, obviously. Only has 3 shots in its clip. However, it does have the same reload of 1.5 seconds between shells, and it has about a 21-second clip reload, so it can just pump out damage just like the TVP.
Why would you go with that instead of just more TVPs?
More hit points. You get 2 of the guns firing at the same time, and if this could catch out photo finish. If they all stop right here, they realize that he can't do anything, they could get him for free.
Deja, though, taking quite a bit of damage as well. Photo finish, taking a lot of shots. He's going to take another shot on a Nationwide. And he is actually going to survive as he slides down this hill.
So, Apex coming in here with a 113, a TVP, 4 bat chats, and a Lorraine 155. Once again, one of the rather oddball arty picks. Not my favorite. Lower arc, very poor gun traverse, so it kind of has to remove the whole tank to be able to aim again. Does have a bit quicker reload than the M40-43. But we'll have to see if they can make it work. Germ is obviously capable of playing that M40-43. We saw him take out that
absolutely
Putin earlier. So he can make it work. However, just opting for the Lorraine on this map.
This is the second time I've seen this tank, it is a tank, but this SPG, and not really understand the pick so much.
Yeah, I think the M40-43 is just better altogether. However, they have decided to bring it. It is faster. That's the one thing I will give it. It does move around a bit better. French artillery can move pretty fast. However,
especially the 155.
Oh yeah, no,
that thing is lightning fast.
This one moves pretty fast as well. But we'll have to see.
I mean, and then I can understand that. It's definitely faster than an M40-43 or any American RD, and on top of that, like you said, the reload time is faster. So I can understand that, I guess.
So Deja Vu still up on HP by about 800. However, 4 of their tanks are damaged already. Only 2 of them damaged for Apex.
Yeah, but even still, I mean, Photo in that 113 has taken quite a bit of damage. External, you could argue not so much, but even still, he's got a damaged gun and he's got a damaged track, so. And one thing I've noticed here is the team of Deja Vu has not even given Apex the opportunity to try to take that F-Zero solo climb.
Yeah, no, they haven't even bothered with any of the climbs. The only boost or climb that we have going on for that matter is the Batchat up at a 9. He's just kind of sitting up there in the high ground, kind of denying any sort of push around the 9-0 line. Meanwhile, this artillery is going to go ahead and push over towards down the 1 line. We'll have to see exactly how far he pushes down.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be Canadian Impact up there on that hill.
Yep, and Germ in this 155 is actually going to chill out right here. He'll actually have a clean side shot onto Chase Potato. So pay attention to that because he could get a nice pen there if he's spotted. With the photo finish to try to get a light. Photo is going to get lit. It's just that little Jaws theme song going on right now. And now he's lit. Oh, never mind. No, he's not.
No, Chase Potato's not lit, but Social Flaws is, and he still potentially could take a shot here.
So it's just a matter of time, and I guarantee you they know that he's there. They're just waiting for him to get lit before they take that shot. And they don't really have a good shot on Social Flaws to begin with right now. That's why Germ hasn't fired at him.
Chase Potato, on the other hand, could potentially catch some hands, if you will, if he stays in that spot.
Deja Vu just not wanting to make a mistake here. They're 1 round away from upsetting Apex.
Yeah. And this would be exactly what they need.
This would be a huge confidence booster. It would also,
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, points-wise, it's not really going to do anything to either team. But as far as going into the next round robin, this is actually huge. This is a huge deal.
And it looks like Apex are actually mounting up for a push. We'll have to see how long it takes them to get spotted. They have all 4 of the tanks sitting here at this corner. The artillery aimed in the position. They're just kind of creeping forward. Photo keeps getting lit, keeps lighting social flaws. The bat shot of Canadian Impact has come down off of that hill as well.
And there's the shot from Germ. It's only going to do 429, though.
So they may wait for him to get reloaded. These bat shots haven't been spotted yet. There's 5 minutes left on the clock, so they could let him reload and get another shot or 2 off, try to soften up the push. The thing is that Deja Vu still have 5 burst heavy autoloaders alive, 3 TVPs and the 2 Skodas. That is a whole lot of burst. That's 900 something out of the T50s and another 1,200 out of the TVPs. So if you total all that up, that's just a lot of damage they can put down range. And they're going to make the push right now. They're going to head right towards the hill. They do take the bounce from
unfortunate bounces, though, as My Little Putin now. Wow, German's going to take down their shell in the 155.
And they are going to catch up. Social Flaws is going to have to back off on the low side.
He's going to fall, and honestly, that was really not a good trade at all for Deja Vu. They didn't get anything that they wanted by setting up that crossfire. In fact, Apex is now like a bulldozer, just destroying Deja Vu 1 tank at a time.
Yeah, but this is a really dangerous mentality to get in Deja Vu, kind of just staying passive and complacent, more or less just playing not to lose, and they have been caught out at this point.
Every time that has happened this season, regardless of the team, James, we've seen that team that plays not to lose. Every time.
Yep, they just kind of slow it down. They don't make a move. They let the other teammates move, which isn't a bad thing to do in every situation. However, they just weren't ready for that push. These Skodas are going to get caught out.
Nice shot and positioning there from Photo finishing that 113. Akula going to clean it up in the TVP, and now it is looking like it's going to be over for Deja Vu.
We are going to go to overtime. It is going to be on steps.
Are we going to see Dodoma do that crazy solo climb again in one shot?
Well, we'll have to see. If they watched that match earlier, they know that the Deja Vu should know that they can actually pick off that climb the first time if they get there fast enough.
Right.
So,
and guess who has side choice, by the way?
We go to the fastest attacking victory, which I believe would actually be Deja Vu.
Deja Vu. You would imagine on steps they would choose defense. You would imagine.
I would. I certainly would, especially a team like Apex. They know how to close out a match. However, showing that they are kind of struggling right now, but typically in that sort of back against the wall situation, I would tend to favor Apex, certainly.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. That is going to tie it up 4-4, which means that once again, in case you didn't hear us, it is going to be going to overtime on the map of Steps. Now, again, this is something just kind of weird, this weird little trend. Apex, the last match they played against 07, it went 5-3, or at one point it was 4-3, and now it's 4-4 between Team Deja Vu. Now, again, I don't know if that's because Apex not necessarily is holding back, but they're not trying to show their entire hand before the next round robin starts. Obviously, they're safe. They're the top point earner in the league right now. It's very interesting to see what's happening with Apex right now as they go into these last couple matches, or match days, if you will.
Yep, so I just got word that Deja Vu has indeed chosen to defend.
Yep.
So,
looking at the damage here, we're going to have Canadian Impact, Akula, Nits, Germ, pretty much the entire Apex team here. It's going to be a 2,600 damage for Canadian Impact, Akula doing 24, Nits with 21, and Germ with 2K in the Lorraine, actually taking down 2 tanks as well. My Little Putin and Nationwide trying to round it off for Deja Vu, but only coming in at 1,800 and 1,500 damage respectively.
Yep, not a whole lot of damage coming out of Deja Vu. Not able to really, get any shots off. Milo Putin got caught out. Nationwide as well. And we appear to be having some issues with the training room, so give us one moment while we get that set back up. So it will be just one more minute before we get underway with this tiebreaker. It is 4-4. Looking at the damage here, change in that T50, the Skoda down there with Harmless, both of them not really able to get up into that fight. And neither was Chase Potato really in that 113 or Social Flaws. They just really couldn't get enough shots off. And once Apex decided to push, they just masked up and they made the push. And, they cleaned it up. They very smart timing
Deja Vu, they felt comfortable in the way that they had that defense set up. Unfortunately, the team of Apex just rolled in and made them question that because honestly, the trades that they were supposed to get for those tanks pushing in, they didn't at all.
Well, when you run a TVP heavy lineup like that, it's supposed to be instant damage done right then. You one tank's not necessarily enough.
And we saw a lot
kill
of bounces actually come off as soon as they went in for that push.
I think it was right off
from the team of Deja Vu.
I think it was Canadian Impact. Yeah, Bat Chat just magically bounced the shot straight up into the air.
Bat Chat, which is not supposed to have any armor, bouncing like he's I don't have a cool analogy, but just bouncing shots all over the place.
Yeah, I got nothing for that one. Yeah. But no, definitely that Bat Chat just bounces way too many shells, and you could argue that's
like a
Deja
9-year-old's birthday party because they have a bounce house. But that
fair enough. But Deja Vu just able to, they just weren't able to really capitalize on the shots. And the other thing is, it took them a minute to spot that push.
It really did. It was
from that corner to that rock. They have to cross that open ground. That's an area that they have to cross where they could have been picked off relatively easily or lost a lot of HP. But just because the angles they were taking, Chase sitting behind that rock was worried about artillery hitting them again, so he was tucked in right there, not looking through there.
It was a mix of complacency and just good play coming out of Apex. So.
Yeah, and they just didn't have a tank in position to really punish that sort of cross. So good stuff out of Apex to retake that hill. Clever strat out of Deja Vu, but not paying off.
Yeah, I would say more or less executed poorly, in a sense.
Well, and I think part of it is because you remember how I said the TVP kind of changed the meta on mines, just having that quick reload. Because before, when we saw Bat Chats, or back in the day when it was 754, we saw 1390s, they have that longer clip reload at like 40 seconds. And so they would push towards that hill, but then no one would be loaded right when that started. Then the T54 lightweight and the RE251 came about, and then teams really started going for the brawl. They tried the smaller, faster autoloaders would try to get up onto the hill first before the T54 lightweights and the RUs, and it just kind of went back and forth. And then when the TVPs came about after we moved to Tier 10, the TVPs are loaded in 20 seconds. They're loaded before anything's crossed that hill.
So they were able to get that quick burst.
And they get that quick burst. And then we started shifting away from this sort of meta where everyone challenged for the hill. And that's when we started seeing these very passive K-line defenses. We've seen slow offenses out of teams. And Apex just recognized, all right, they have that much burst. If we try to take the hill, we're going to lose a tank. So let's just not try to take it early. Let's give it to them and adjust. And to be fair, great little adjustment out of them.
It looks like Deja Vu is taking a quick timeout.
So just making sure they have their strats together. And, hats off to whoever's calling for Deja Vu. I think it's Chase, and I think Blush has been working on strats with him as well. Just some really crazy stuff out of them tonight.
That name.
So, and that's if we end up having a captain's interview with them afterwards, if they end up winning this round, I really want to find out, especially about that Himmelsdorf round. I want to figure out how much that was by design.
That was nutty.
How much was luck? Because, the timing, to just pass that 1390 up on the hill through that gap to not get spotted, and Apex just didn't know where the tanks were, so they didn't, really rotate out early, and then just a little bit unlucky that they didn't walk right into that 50B ambush.
Yeah, those 50Bs were, just hovering around Germ in the 1390, and he just could never find them.
Well, and he wasn't even looking for them. He didn't know they were there.
Well,
they never accidentally crossed paths, and so it was just a really combination of just bizarre events on that round that I just can't explain, really. Clever, double cap pressure.
Clever girl.
That's kind of the first time where I've really seen some double cap pressure that actually meant something.
Yeah, no, that's the first time I've also seen it this season as well.
Because typically it's so easy to just group up, know where all the tanks are, and push. But because they did such a good job at covering their numbers and hiding where tanks exactly were sitting, they couldn't really figure out where one tank was, where 50Bs were, and so they weren't comfortable sending their tanks in some massive formation to go get an overmatch.
Yeah, well, let's head into our very last map of the night and the series, ladies and gentlemen, between Deja Vu and Apex.
Steps, the most open map in the league. The attacking team appears near the rocks at the bottom of the map, and the defending team starts at the top. Bases are located near the railway and on the green. The best way to control them is to use the lowland near the second base. The attacking team usually begins the attack from the rocks and the railway, but sometimes they can attack through the green. Teams often drag vehicles from flank to flank, so both teams usually pick light vehicles with a good camouflage rating, but sometimes use tanks with a strong turret and even SPGs.
battle, the last battle of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Deja Vu versus Apex. Talk to me about the lineups.
So Apex coming in with the 113, 2 140s, 3 hatchets. Dustin just sitting here making me laugh every time to where I can't even talk.
I'm fine, man. I'm not even laughing. 113 for Apex. We have 2 140s, 3 batch chats, and then Germ, interesting enough, again bringing the Lorraine.
Once again, Deja Vu coming in with a 113 and E5, 2 140s, 2 batch chats, and then RU251.
Ooh, shot barely missing a Kula there. All right, so we are seeing Nits kind of move towards the hill. This is actually something I don't notice a lot, James. We have a very southern setup from the attacking team. Normally we see the team kind of go towards north and hit that one cap. So what is the purpose of this?
So they're moving that 113 out into the field right now, and he's going to sit there kind of in that defilade, essentially just trying to bait some of the tanks of Deja Vu to come and get him.
That 113, that was very dangerous to getting caught out. Who is actually in that 113?
So he's actually
photo finish, yeah.
He's actually tucked in a nice little defilade where they're going to really struggle to get him. However, he's going to choose to just back out right now. There is a spot where he can sit in there, and it would be really hard for him to get shots without the other tanks from Apex lining up shots from a variety of angles. So kind of just a bait, a sacrificial lamb, if you will, just putting him out there, hoping that Deja Vu, overextend and the rest of the guns can get in there. The Larian 155 also looking for some shots from the distance.
So they're going to bring that Larian again. Interesting.
Yep, still favoring that.
To be fair, he did, like 2k damage and he got 2 kills. So
decent stuff out of him last round. I still think the M43 is better, but that, once again, personal preference. I just don't feel that Lorraine 155 has that just stopping power that the M43 does. It's just able
there's definitely more damaging already out there that they could have brought.
Yeah, well, we just watched earlier in the same match, we watched an M43 just completely delete a bat chat off of the server, essentially. Once again, it didn't matter. It was
sweet.
after the battle was over.
It was a nice shot.
Yeah, and that's just capable. That's what that arty's capable of. This 155, not quite able to do the same thing. Can still put out, we saw it do almost 1,100 damage on the Vetro last match day. So it can do a good amount of damage. You can't really scoff at 1,000 damage gone.
No, definitely not. And again, to point out, this is very important, James. This is 4-4, the final battle number 9. Deja Vu has brought Apex to the very limit, and this is something we have only seen one other team do so far this season, and that was Eclipse.
Yeah, absolutely. And Apex, their thing here is that since they push this in overtime, they get 1 point. There is no danger of them losing their first place after this match, so that's still in there.
And even for Deja Vu, they're still getting a point regardless.
Yep, and that's, and you can thank M60s, or I should say Apex should be thanking M60s for beating Eclipse the other day, because that makes it so they retain that first place. One shot going out there onto Durzel for 26 damage.
But even still, just the threat of that RD, I've learned, is very unsettling.
No, you don't want to get complacent. You have to make sure you keep moving once you're spotted.
Photo finish is ridiculous right now in his positioning. He's playing very, very gutsy.
Yep, and they left the 140 all the way down there in the south. Kind of odd to leave a 140 off by yourself. Meanwhile, Akula is actually up here in the north, and the 3 batch shots are floating around right in the middle. And what they're kind of hoping to do right now is they're going to move the batch shot over to cap, and they're going to hope that someone tries to go and get photo finish out of that little road ground, and they're hoping that when they do, the bat shots and the 140 in the south and the artillery can sit there and punish. So just a bait, maybe not even trying to go for the cap pressure, but hoping that they'll dump onto photo finish. Photo finish is actually going to dump over the ridge and get safe right there, tuck in opposite of that C4 corner.
Excuse me, cap pressure actually coming out because they did choose to go with the Lorraine. They do not have a tier 8 light. It's going to be using a bat shot with Canadian Impact actually starting the cap pressure. So interesting. We always normally see some type of tier 8 light in that position as far as taking the cap pressure responsibility.
Yeah, but when you have a tier 8 artillery, and that's one of the downsides to bringing a tier 8 artillery is just that. You kind of have to delegate one of the 10s to go be the tank that sits on cap, and that's a gun that's arguably out of the fight. Now, obviously, he can still fire, however, he won't want to because he doesn't want to get spotted, and he needs to be really careful that he doesn't lose a lot of HP.
Yeah, but that's an autoloader. That's 5 shell. That's quite a lot of burst that you're now taking out of the fight simply because, like you said, they don't want to be spotted.
Yep, so it's real tricky here, and Deja is going to push in, and he may like Canadian Impact. He does indeed, so Canadian Impact needs to hightail it out of there and get safe before he loses a lot of HP. And Deja Vu is just taking a whole lot of damage. However, they are doing a decent job at returning right now.
Deja taking quite a bit of damage indeed, but Nit's actually going to find Nationwide and going to take quite a bit of damage, though, in the process. He is one shot away. He's got to find some sort of way to survive. That 140 has nothing left as Harmless is trying to see if he can poke over and get a shot. But I don't think he will.
I think it was German, that
I lied,
Lorraine
it's
155.
Change, actually, yeah. Change actually finding the kill shot. And again, we did see, like I said earlier, we did see Germ do work in that 155 in the Lorraine.
Yep, Durgil is about to go down, though. He does get ammo wrecked. Now, it's an ammo rack damage as opposed to being straight up ammo racked where it's
Yeah, because if you're
off.
ammo racked, you're dead. Like, that's...
Yeah. So having the damaged ammo rack will slow his reload a bit. Photo finish, trying to poke up, maybe find a kill shot, and has to back down. As someone takes a shot on him. I think what happened was the Germ in that Lorraine 155 actually softened up that bat shot through the south, and then the 140 sitting down there was able to finish him off.
Again, I mean, it's not to say that Germ isn't doing work, because he is. Last game and this game, he's already done quite a bit of damage, and he's caused problems for the other team.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I will say is with that lower arc, it will fire a good bit faster. The shell will get to its target a good bit faster than the M4043. A little bit, further shooting away, it's like 4 or 5 seconds to get there. With the Lorraine, it might be a little bit quicker, so it might be a little bit easier to hit some of these faster moving tanks where you really just kind of have to estimate where they're going to be when you fire, because you have to remember you got to lead your targets. They could always change directions and whatnot. So having that faster shell travel time may be a factor there as well.
Durgil on the verge of death here. And, I mean, Apex, to be honest, Deja Vu not doing too bad against Apex here, as they both have a tank down. They both have one tank that's about to be killed, both of which happen to be 113s. And, oh, my goodness, that already finding a shot, not killing, though, luckily for Durgil. But, again, this is a fairly even here.
Yep, and Apex are actually going to make the play across the north. They are down about 1,100 HP. This is their match to win, essentially, at this point. Being down, Deja Vu just have to defend for another 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
Time is indeed running out, which means that most likely Apex here is going to have to just take out every single tank left for Deja Vu. The problem is one of those bad shots, who I believe is going to be Harmless, is all the way south.
They are going to push in. They are going to eat the shells from the 140. However, they should find Social Flaws.
Yep, Social Flaws is going to go down here, taking a lot of damage, doing a little bit in return to Apex. But again, I think the biggest factor here will actually be that bat shot. If he actually ends up staying back, I don't know if Apex has enough time unless they load 3 on, in which case those two 140s are going to be able to find a shot onto them.
Yep, great little interplay there from Apex, just focusing out Social Flaws and then managing to pick up that 113 of Durgil in the same movement.
Yep, and here comes the cap pressure. 1 tank, and I believe we're going to have 2 tanks, possibly a 3rd tank here. And that is going to bring the time all the way down to 55 seconds, as I believe one of them just got reset, possibly taking a shot. I didn't see that, but...
And Germ actually found and gets the shotgun onto Chase. That is his 2nd shotgun of tonight.
Germ is just really good at that. Really good at being that guy. It's now 15 seconds now, rounds off that cap pressure. Beautiful resets, though, coming out of Team Deja Vu. Now this is where it comes all down to Harmless. If he can somehow get away, Change getting put down, but My Little Putin also getting a tank himself. Harmless is going to go down, and unfortunately, that's going to do it. Apex, with a very quick blitz at the end, are going to take out Deja Vu.
So, very good stuff there out of both teams. Honestly, it was a very close match, but Apex just managed to better them. I like the opening there out of Deja Vu. They kept it very tight.
It wasn't bad, and they got a good trade as well.
Yeah, they got a good pick there. They made Apex work for it. They were even up by HP at one point. However, just a little bit lapse in coverage there, maybe leaving a few tanks too far south, only leaving the 140s to cover the E5. And Apex, as they've been doing all season, fighting from a bad position where they're down.
They do it every time.
They just make that push. And
they're down, and then they...
they traded 1,000 HP essentially to kill a